You stole my work. Isla Cole pushes the conference room door wide, and the slam echoes like a verdict. Every face turns. Screens glow. A polished deck fills the wall, stamped with a name that is not hers. Lena White stands by the projector with a confident smile, a laser pointer in hand, and a glass of water she does not need. The client team sits across from the executives of Inspire Tomorrow, New York's loudest ad agency, their notebooks open, their approval already forming. Sophia Green, design director, watches Isla with a tight look that says, "Do not ruin my win." Arthur King, the client vice president, tilts his head, curious but cautious. Isla walks to the long table, drops a thick stack of papers onto the wood, and does not flinch at the sound. "You are in the wrong room," Sophia says. "No," Isla replies. "I am finally in the right one." Lena laughs softly. "Isla, you missed the deadline. You are sick, you are stressed, and you are making a scene." Isla points at the slide on the screen, a sketch of a city skyline wrapped in light trails. "That layer naming pattern," she says. "I have used it for years. Sky base, sky glow, halo map, street scatter. Tell them why your file uses my habits." Lena blinks once. "We all name layers. That proves nothing." "It proves you opened my file," Isla says. She looks to Marcus Gray at the back of the room. He has his laptop open, his jaw set, his eyes hard. Marcus nods, then stands. "I restored system logs from Lena's workstation," Marcus says. On the night Isla was in the hospital, Lena's device accessed Isla's account. The login matched Lena's badge and her network route. Sophia cuts in. "Marcus, you are not authorized to share internal logs." "I am authorized to stop fraud," Marcus says. His voice stays flat. "Also, I recorded my steps and timestamps. Nothing is edited." Isla slides one page toward Arthur. "This is the USB copy log," she says. A drive was inserted into Lena's computer at 1:12 a.m. The file set called City of Light draft was copied at 1:14 a.m. 2 minutes later the drive was removed. Lena lifts her chin. "I was backing up team assets. That is my job." Isla flips another page. "These are emails. I sent Arthur a creative brief 3 weeks before you filed your so-called concept. Same taglines, same audience model, same budget assumptions. You took my bones and painted over the skin." The room is silent except for the hum of the projector. Arthur reaches for the pages. He reads, then looks up. "Lena," he says. "Is this your original work?" "It is." Lena answers fast. "Isla is trying to sabotage me. She is jealous." Isla does not raise her voice. She opens her own folder and pulls out a second deck. "Then you will love this," she says. She sets a new booklet in front of Arthur. "The deck you saw is my first draft," Isla says. "This is City of Light 2.0. It has 3 new modules: a loyalty loop tied to transit partnerships, a street-level activation plan linked to live sales data, and a media optimization model that updates by the hour. Your deck does not have any of that because you could not steal what I built after I came back." Arthur flips pages, faster now. His expression changes from polite interest to sharp focus. Sophia leans forward. "Isla, you cannot just replace a deck in a final review." "I am not replacing anything," Isla says. "I am correcting a lie." Lena steps toward Isla, voice sweet. "You should have told me you were still working on it. We could have collaborated." Isla meets her eyes. "You did collaborate," Isla says. "You collaborated with my password." Marcus clicks a key. The screen changes. A simple chart appears, time and access paths, and one line stands out, bolded. Isla points to it. "That night," she says. "My account was accessed from your terminal. The same night you sent yourself my draft from my saved folder. You did not even remove my hidden watermark in the notes." Arthur sits back. "Watermark?" Isla nods. "A hash embedded in the speaker notes. It is tied to my internal file ID. Marcus can validate it." Marcus speaks again. "I validated it. The hash is intact." A chair scrapes. Sophia stands, face tight. "This is internal drama. Arthur, we can resolve this after the meeting." Arthur closes the booklet. No. He says. We do not buy stolen work. Lena turns pale. You cannot prove intent. Isla slides one last document across the table. This is the time-stamped export from my software, she says. It predates your submission by 11 days. And it includes the original research spreadsheet you never even opened. Arthur looks at Lena like she is a stranger. My team will not proceed with you. He says. We will proceed with Isla if your company can guarantee she is the lead. Sophia tries to smile. Of course, Isla is a valued employee. Isla almost laughs. In the hallway outside, phones already buzz. Someone has posted a clipped video to the internal chat. It spreads in seconds. Isla feels the old sickness in her gut, the memory of that hospital room, the betrayal, the quiet rage that kept her awake. She turns to Lena one last time. Stolen glory fades. Isla says. Original work survives. Lena opens her mouth, but no sound comes out. Isla looks at the room, then at Arthur. Give me 48 hours. She says. I will deliver the strongest plan you have ever seen. Arthur nods once. Do it. He says. When the meeting breaks, Sophia pulls Isla aside. You just embarrassed my department. Sophia whispers. Do you have any idea what you have done? I stopped a thief. Isla says. If that embarrasses you, that is your problem. Sophia's eyes narrow. Watch yourself. Isla smiles, small and calm. I am watching. She says. I have been watching for a long time. 1 week earlier, Isla wakes in a hospital bed with a raw ache in her abdomen and a bandage that pulls every time she breathes. Acute appendicitis, the doctor says. Emergency surgery. No work, no stress, rest and recover. Isla laughs at the word recover as if it is a luxury. Her phone sits in her hand like a weight. City of Light is due for internal submission in 3 days. It is her biggest chance in 2 years. She opens the work chat and sees silence where her name should be. No one pings her. No one asks how she is. She texts Lena. Can you handle the final formatting for my deck and upload the draft for me? I will review from here. Lena replies 5 minutes later. Of course, focus on your health. I will take care of it. Isla feels relief, and then guilt for feeling relief. They started together at Inspire Tomorrow. Same intake class, same long nights, same jokes about stale coffee and impossible clients. Lena always smiled, always said the right things, always volunteered to help. Isla always did the work. The next day, Isla calls from the bed. How is the deck? It is going great. Lena says. I tightened the visuals. I am refining the story. Isla tries to log in remotely. The company system denies her. Temporary access lock, it says. She calls support. Support says the lock was requested by a manager due to unusual login activity. Isla frowns. Which manager? Support hesitates. Director Sophia Green approved it. Isla hangs up and stares at the ceiling. When she writes to Sophia, Sophia replies with one line. Rest. We will handle the submission. Isla has learned that short messages are never kind. 2 days later, her pain is better. Her instincts are worse. She checks the shared drive. Her draft folder is there, but her latest files are gone. She calls Lena again. Lena, where is my latest model? Lena sighs like Isla is difficult. I reorganized. Do not worry, you will see it when you are back. Isla hears laughter behind Lena, a soft, familiar laugh, like someone is celebrating. Isla ends the call, heart pounding. She pushes herself out of bed, ignoring the nurse's protests, and walks a slow loop around the hallway until the dizziness stops. She thinks of every late night she stayed, every client note she absorbed, every time Lena stood beside her and nodded and took credit in the meeting recap. She thinks of the one time she said, gently, that idea came from my draft. Lena had smiled and said, we are a team. Isla is discharged early. The doctor warns her. She signs the papers anyway. Back in the office, the lobby smells like perfume and ambition. She walks to Lena's desk. Lena is not there. Isla sits, opens Lena's computer without touching the keyboard, and sees her own deck open on screen. Not an inspired version. Not a collaboration. Her exact slide order. Her data. Her sketches. The same typos she never fixed. Only the cover page is different. It says presented by Lena White. Isla feels heat surge up her neck. Lena returns carrying a coffee, sees Isla and freezes for half a second. Then she smiles. "Oh, you are back." Lena says. "How are you feeling?" Isla points to the screen. "Why is my deck on your computer?" Lena sets the coffee down slowly. "Because you were out. Someone had to submit. You submitted it under your name." Lena shrugs. "Deadline matters. You were not here. I did what the company needed." Isla stands, hands clenched. "We are colleagues. How could you?" Lena leans closer, voice low. "Because you always act like you own everything." Lena says. "You sit quiet, then you take the praise when it comes. I am done watching you win." Isla hears her own breath, sharp. Sophia appears, heels clicking. "What is this?" Sophia asks. Isla turns. "She stole my project." Sophia looks at Lena, then back at Isla. "Lena submitted a deck that meets the brief." Sophia says. "The client likes it. Do not damage the department with your personal drama." "It is not personal." Isla says. "It is theft." Sophia lowers her voice. "Isla, you had surgery. You are not thinking clearly. Go home. We will discuss later." Isla realizes, in that moment, that Sophia already chose a side. And it is not hers. Isla does not scream. She does not cry. She picks up her bag, walks out, and feels every eye on her back. In the elevator, she opens a notes app and types one sentence. "I will not beg for what is mine. I will take it back." She presses save. Then she calls Marcus Gray. Marcus meets Isla in a quiet cafe near the office, away from the company cameras and away from gossip. He is 35, a technical lead with a reputation for fixing impossible problems and refusing dirty deals. Isla keeps her voice steady. "She accessed my account." Isla says. "I need proof that holds up." Marcus watches her for a long second. "Lena reported me once." He says. "Said I leaked client assets. It was a lie." Sophia believed her. "I had to rebuild my record from scratch." Isla nods. "Then you know what she is." Marcus sips coffee. "I can pull access logs, but I have to be careful. Sophia will try to bury it." "I do not need you to fight for me." Isla says. "I need you to hand me the knife." Marcus almost smiles. "Fine, but we do it clean." They build a plan like engineers, step by step. First, Isla acts defeated. She sends Sophia an email. "I understand the project is already submitted. I will support Lena as needed." She sends Lena a text. "Good luck in final review. I will not interfere." Lena replies with a heart emoji, like a joke. Isla keeps the message, screenshots it, and saves it in a folder called Evidence. Second, Isla upgrades the work beyond what Lena can imitate. She opens her original model and rewrites it from the ground up. The first deck was a pitch. The new one becomes an ecosystem. She adds a loyalty loop tied to subway partnerships. She adds live sales triggers that adjust creative by neighborhood. She adds a cost model that ties media spend to real conversions. She calls a small vendor she met years ago a data partner who trusts her. "I need a letter," she says. "Confirm you shared this data set with me last month." The vendor agrees. Isla calls a junior contact on Arthur's team, a coordinator who liked Isla's early ideas. "I need our email chain." Isla says. "The one with the initial brief." The coordinator hesitates, then sends it. Isla saves everything. Third, Marcus works in the dark. He accesses a backup system that logs file reads and badge logins. He finds the night. The timestamp sits there like a fingerprint. Lena logged in at 1:07 a.m. She opened Isla's folder. She copied the draft to a removable drive. She logged out at 1:19 a.m. Marcus exports the logs and signs the hash with his internal key. He calls Isla. "I have it," he says. Isla exhales. Fourth, Isla builds allies without looking like she is building allies. She talks to quiet co-workers who have been stepped on by Lena. A copywriter whose lines Lena used in a campaign recap. A junior designer who got blamed for Lena's missed deadline. An analyst whose report Lena claimed as her own. Isla does not ask them to attack. She asks them one question. Did she do it to you too? They answer without needing time. By the end of the week, Isla has sworn statements in their own words, signed and dated. She files none of it yet. She waits. Lena visits her desk twice, acting sweet. How are you doing? Lena asks. Isla smiles, gentle. I am still tired. Isla says. I do not have the energy to fight. Lena relaxes. Good, focus on healing. When Lena leaves, Isla watches her walk away, confident, careless, convinced the war is over. Isla opens her notebook and writes a line in block letters. Final review, public truth. She underlines it. Then she writes another line. If she lies, I will let her lie louder. The day before the final review, Sophia sends a calendar invite labeled strategy alignment. Isla attends. Sophia closes the door and smiles like a teacher. I heard you have been talking to people. Sophia says. Isla keeps her face soft. I am rebuilding my confidence. I was shaken. Sophia nods. Good. I need you stable. Lena is representing us. Do not disrupt her. Isla meets Sophia's eyes. I will not disrupt anything. Isla says. I will only tell the truth if asked. Sophia watches her for a beat, then says. You are smart. Do not be reckless. Isla leaves the room, heart steady. Marcus texts her one word. Ready. Isla types back. Tomorrow. Isla knows one truth about thieves. They steal because they cannot build. So she removes the scaffolding Lena uses to stand tall. She starts with compliance. She compiles similarity comparisons between Lena's past campaigns and other people's drafts. A split screen. Identical phrasing. Identical layouts. Only the names changed. She sends it anonymously to the compliance mailbox, using a personal device and a clean network. She does not mention City of Light. She lets compliance open the door on its own. Next, she targets the data Lena borrowed without permission. In Lena's deck, one slide claims exclusive insights from a partner dataset. Isla calls the partner and tells the truth. That dataset was licensed to me for internal modeling. Isla says. It was not licensed for a client submission under another name. The partner legal team replies within an hour. They will suspend access and demand clarification. Isla knows Lena will panic when the numbers stop updating. Then Isla takes the story control. The office has an internal forum, a place for brag posts and lunch polls and fake positivity. Isla writes a calm thread. Creative lineage for City of Light. It says. She includes a timeline of her own work. Inspiration sources. Early sketches. Research notes. A screenshot of the first email chain with Arthur, date visible. She does not accuse anyone. She simply shows origin. The thread spreads anyway. By afternoon, whispers coil through the design floor. People look at Lena differently. Lena feels it. She corners Isla near the printers, eyes sharp. Did you post that? Lena asks. Isla lifts her chin. I posted my process. That is allowed. Lena steps closer. You are trying to ruin me. Isla smiles, soft as sugar. I am protecting myself. She says. If the truth ruins you, that is not my fault. Lena hisses. You are playing dirty. Isla does not blink. You started with my password. Lena walks away fast. That night, Isla stays late, not because she needs to, but because she wants to be seen. She sits at her desk, headphones on, looking tired, looking harmless. She watches Lena pace by the elevators, phone to her ear, voice low, desperate. Isla receives a message from Marcus. Compliance opened an inquiry. Sophia is nervous. Isla types back. Good. At 10:30 p.m., Lena appears at Isla's desk with a forced smile. Can we talk? Lena asks. Isla turns slowly. About what? Lena lowers her voice. If you stop this, I can make it worth your while. Lena says. A bonus. A recommendation. I have influence. Isla pretends to think. Do you? Lena nods fast. Isla tilts her head. Put it in writing. Isla says. Lena freezes. What? Isla shrugs. I want clarity, email me. Lena forces a laugh and walks away. Isla knows she will not email. Lena is not stupid. She is just arrogant. The next morning, the data partner suspends access. Lena's deck breaks. Charts show blanks. Assumptions fail. Slides that rely on live numbers now look like holes in a wall. Lena storms into Sophia's office. Isla hears raised voices through the glass. Sophia emerges, face tight, and announces a new rule. No one posts about City of Light. No one discusses it. Focus on the final review. People nod, but their eyes say something else. Isla sits quietly, hands folded. In her bag, the upgraded deck rests like a weapon. In her cloud folder, Marcus logs rest like bullets. Isla waits for the moment when Lena has no air left. Interlude: the quiet room with no windows. That afternoon, Isla is called to a small room behind human resources. No windows. 2 chairs. A bottle of water that looks untouched for years. A compliance officer sits across from her with a tablet. We received an anonymous report about repeated idea appropriation. The officer says. Isla keeps her hands folded. I did not send a report as an attack. Isla says. I sent documentation of patterns. Do you have personal conflict with Lena White? The officer asks. Isla answers with a truth that is not emotional. I have a conflict with theft. She says. The officer scrolls, then pauses. Your timeline for City of Light begins months ago. The officer says. Lena's submission appears last minute. Can you explain why you did not raise this earlier? Isla looks down at the table. Because the moment I speak, I become the problem. She says. I needed evidence that stands without my voice. The officer nods slowly. Evidence is what we review. The officer says. Not tone. Isla almost smiles at that. The door opens. Sophia steps in without knocking. This is pulling Isla away from work. Sophia says. We have a client deliverable. The compliance officer does not react. Director Green. The officer says. Please wait outside. This is not optional. Sophia freezes, then forces a smile and steps out. Isla sees in that small moment that Sophia's power has limits. When the interview ends, the officer says one final line. Keep your files. Keep your dates. We will contact you. Isla walks out, and her phone buzzes with a message from Lena. Stop playing victim. You will regret this. Isla saves the message without replying. Then she opens her calendar and schedules one thing. Final review, 9:00 a.m. She adds a note under it. Bring everything, leave nothing. After the final review explodes, Lena does not sleep. She does not cry, not in public. She calls favors. She calls friends. She calls people who owe her small debts. She finds Sophia first. Sophia invites Lena into her office after hours, blinds down, lights low. You ruined my pipeline. Sophia says to Isla the next morning, in a tone that pretends it is about process. Isla keeps her smile neutral. I did not ruin anything, Lena did. Sophia leans in. The board hates scandal. They will choose stability. They will choose whoever keeps the client. Isla answers quietly. Then I will keep the client. Sophia straightens. Do not threaten me. I am not. Isla says. I am stating a fact. By noon, rumors spread. Isla is called jealous. Isla is called unstable. Isla is called a sore loser. A junior designer avoids her gaze. Isla lets it happen. Because lies are easier to kill when they are loud. That afternoon, Marcus sends her an audio file. Lena tried to bribe me. He texts. I recorded it. She offered money if I delete logs. She did not know I had a second device running. Isla listens once. Lena's voice is clear. Help me and I will take care of you. Lena says. Marcus replies on the recording, calm. No, and stop asking. Isla saves it. Then she receives a forwarded email from a coworker. It is a message to Sophia, supposedly from Isla. It claims Isla authorized Lena to edit and submit the deck while Isla was in the hospital. The language is wrong. The formatting is wrong. The signature is wrong. It is a fake. Isla does not confront Lena directly. She takes it to Marcus. Marcus examines the header data, the sending route, the metadata. It did not come from your account. He says. It was spoofed. I can write a report. Write it. Isla says. That evening, Isla requests a meeting with the company chief executive and the board compliance chair. She does not beg. She sends a package. Subject line: Evidence Summary, City of Light. Inside, she includes the restored access logs, the USB copy timeline, the vendor letter, the early client emails, the witness statements, the bribe audio transcript, and the spoofed email forensic report. She adds a final page. A timeline, clean and simple. And one line at the bottom. If you protect theft, you teach everyone to steal. The next day, Arthur King calls the chief executive directly. Isla is not on the call. She hears about it later from a senior producer with wide eyes. Arthur says one sentence. If you do not remove the thief, we end all contracts. That sentence carries more weight than any internal politics. Sophia tries one last move. She walks onto the design floor and announces an emergency meeting. She stands beside Lena as if Lena is a wounded soldier. We will not tolerate internal sabotage. Sophia says. We will not tolerate personal vendettas. Isla stands up from her desk. The room hushes. I agree. Isla says. We should not tolerate sabotage. Sophia glares. Sit down. Isla does not sit. She projects Marcus' report onto the screen. The forensic header. The spoof route. The device fingerprint. She plays a short clip of the bribe audio, just 10 seconds. Lena's face drains of color. You forged an email in my name. Isla says. And you tried to buy deletion of evidence. Lena shakes her head. She is framing me. Marcus speaks from the side. The data does not lie. Sophia snaps. Enough. Isla looks at Sophia. You told me to rest. Isla says. I rested. I built a case. Sophia opens her mouth. Isla speaks first. I have already sent everything to the board. She says. And Arthur has already called the chief executive. Sophia stops moving. In the silence, Lena whispers. You are not supposed to win. Isla leans close enough that only Lena can hear. I am not winning. Isla whispers back. I am collecting what you owe. The board moves fast when money is on fire. 2 days after the emergency meeting, Inspire Tomorrow holds an all-hands announcement. The chief executive stands on a small stage in the atrium, face stern. Isla stands near the back, hands calm at her sides. Lena stands near Sophia, shoulders rigid, eyes darting. The chief executive speaks. An investigation has confirmed misconduct involving unauthorized access, misrepresentation of work, and attempted interference with evidence. A murmur rolls through the crowd. Lena White is terminated effective immediately. The chief executive continues. The company will pursue appropriate remedies for damages. Lena makes a sound like a choke. Sophia stiffens. The chief executive turns slightly. Sophia Green is removed from her role as design director and reassigned pending further review. Sophia's face hardens, but she says nothing. The chief executive looks out. Isla Cole will lead the City of Light account and will be promoted to associate design director. For 1 second, the room is still. Then applause breaks out, uneven at first, then stronger. Isla does not smile wide. She nods once, like someone accepting a duty. After the meeting, security escorts Lena out. Lena passes Isla on the way to the exit. Her eyes are wet now, rage and fear mixed. This is not fair. Lena says. Isla answers quietly. You called theft fairness. This is the correction. Lena spits the last of her pride. You were always quiet. You were always soft. Isla tilts her head. I was always watching. Isla says. Lena is gone. Weeks pass. City of Light 2.0 launches with a new energy. The transit partnership goes live. Street activations create lines around pop-up booths. Real-time data shifts creative across neighborhoods. Arthur visits the office, not to flatter, but to verify. He meets Isla in a smaller conference room. You delivered, Arthur says. Isla nods. I will keep delivering. Arthur studies her. People like Lena exist everywhere. He says. Some companies protect them. Isla answers. Then those companies lose to the ones that do not. Arthur smiles, brief. Good. He says. You are not just talented, you are dangerous. At the next quarterly meeting, the chief executive reads out project results. Revenue up. Retention up. Client expansion approved. Isla feels the air in her lungs for the first time in months. Afterward, Marcus meets her by the vending machines. You look less tired. He says. I am still tired. Isla replies. I am just tired for myself now, not for someone else. Marcus nods. You did not just win a project. You changed the rules. Isla looks at the office floor, the desks, the screens, the people who pretend to work while watching every move. She thinks of the version of herself who used to believe kindness was protection. Kindness is not protection. Evidence is. She returns to her desk and opens a fresh notebook. On the first page, she writes a new rule. Document everything. On the second page, she writes a promise. Never let a thief decide your value. That night, the city outside the windows glitters like the first sketch she drew, long before Lena ever touched her files. Isla closes her laptop, stands, and walks out with her head high. The lobby doors slide open. The cold New York air hits her face. She smiles, small and real. The war is over. The next one will not surprise her. Epilogue receipts. A month after City of Light launches, Isla receives an envelope at her desk. No return address. Inside is a printed screenshot from a job board, a rejection notice, and a sticky note in block letters. You did this. Isla stares at it, then folds it once and places it in a drawer. She does not need to keep the paper. She knows the sender. Later that day, she runs into Lena in the lobby, by accident, not by design. Lena is dressed like she is going to an interview, but her shoulders slope as if she already lost it. She looks older than a month ago. She sees Isla and stops. For a moment, neither speaks. Then Lena says, Do you feel good about it? Isla answers, I feel clean. Lena's mouth twists. You could have let me apologize. Lena says, You could have kept it private. Isla takes one slow breath. Private theft becomes public habit. Isla says, If you learned anything, it should be that. Lena flinches. You always acted like you were better than me. Isla shakes her head. I acted like I did not need to compete with you. She says. You made that an insult. Lena swallows. I have nothing now. Lena says. Isla looks at her, not with pity, not with joy, but with a calm that comes from closure. You had something. Isla says. You had a job, a salary, a chance to build your own work. You traded it for a shortcut. Lena stares at the floor. People will never trust me again. She whispers. Isla replies. Then you finally understand the cost. A security guard clears his throat nearby, watching, ready to step in. Isla gives the guard a small nod, then turns to leave. Lena calls after her, voice sharp with the last shard of pride. This city eats people like us. Isla pauses at the revolving door. It only eats people who believe they cannot fight. She says. She steps out into the street. The air smells like rain and buses and hot pretzels. Isla walks toward the subway, thinking of the first time she met Arthur King months ago, when this project was only a rumor. She had been the quiet designer in the back of a crowded pitch room. Arthur had asked one question to the group. Why should I trust your agency with my brand? Everyone had offered slogans. Isla had offered structure. Because we will show our work. She had said. And we will leave a trail you can audit. Arthur had looked at her then as if he had heard a different language. Now he trusts her because her trail is real. Isla smiles once and keeps walking.
Thanks for watching. Follow for more romance stories.